ads. Today we're going to cover the big three, the three that are most common and most people do. We had a previous video, we talked about planning for the future, living in the moment. So I'd kind of encourage you to think about that and to be making a decision about that. But today we're going to talk about jobs you can get and support yourself on the road. If you're young, you can make enough money to live on the road and have a really good life. I'm still in Sisters, Oregon. Behind me you'll see the beautiful Three Sisters Mountains. You can see two of them. Would you rather be here doing this and living this life? I moved from beautiful place to beautiful place all summer. Would you rather be doing that, or would you rather be in a cubicle, work slaving away to make someone else rich? To me, it's a very simple decision. I choose this. I mean, wow, how could you not choose this? So we're going to talk about these three jobs that will allow you to combine the two and give you a really good life and hopefully build some security for the future. The three first jobs we're going to look at are campground host, then the sugar beet harvest, which is mostly along the Canadian border, Minnesota, the Dakotas, North and South Dakota, some in Idaho, some in Montana. The sugar beet harvest, and then finally working for Amazon. And the timing of the three of them works perfectly, so you can work at one, go to the other, and then go to the other. The first one is campground hosting, wherever you are, and that starts in mid-May generally when the national forests get thawed and open from snow. So you'll start working in mid-May. You can then work until September, mid-September usually, and then you'll go from there to the sugar beet harvest. Usually work 3 weeks, a month, something like that, and until maybe mid-October, late October, and then you'll go from there to an Amazon warehouse distribution center, and then you'll work there until December 27th, 28th, 29th, when the Christmas rush gets over. I'm going to tell you about each of those jobs. But the big thing to see is that 6 months work, and in that 6 months you can make enough if you're careful and you're frugal and you live cheap, which you can do living in a car, van, or RV. If you live cheap enough, boondocking, not paying for campsites, then you can work those 6 months and take the next 6 months off, maybe even the next year off. I know people who do that, work 6 months and then take the next year and a half off and start working again the following year after that. I know people that do that. You can do that too. I've done that. I know you can do that. So now let's talk about those three jobs. So let's talk about how much money you'll make. Campground hosting, I'd expect you to make about $5,500 gross. Then after that, you'll go to the sugar beet harvest. I would expect that to gross $3,500 to $4,000. After that, you'll go to Amazon, and in that period time frame, you should gross about another $4,000. So you should easily gross $13,000 in 6 months' work. Now, all of them provide a place to live. They provide a free campsite. No expenses for living. That's gone. You're not paying a penny for living. You're working so much that you have very little time to spend money. The bottom line is that over that 3 months, over that 6 month period, you should be saving virtually all that money, other than what goes into taxes and eating and laundry and basics, the most basics of life. You should be able to save nearly all the money you take home. And so I would estimate you should easily be able to get done, work 6 months, have $8,500 in your pocket. $8,000 to $9,000 cash in your pocket, because you live so cheap. You're not paying for a house or mortgage or utilities. You got them on the top. You got solar panels on your roof. You can live for 6 months, a year, year and a half on that $8,000. I know people that do just that. So you live a pretty good life, and you got a lot of freedom and choices in that life. So let's talk about the three jobs specifically. First, campground hosting. I was a campground host for 4 years. I loved it. I highly recommend it. I just think it's a great job. I never lived in a place as pretty as this, but right here, I'm in Oregon, and there are hundreds of campgrounds here in Oregon that you can go and work at. And you're usually paid minimum wage of the state. Minimum wage in Oregon is high. It's either 9 or 10. It keeps going up. So you'll make good money here in Oregon. You will live in a national forest in a beautiful spot. I worked with good people. I always worked with good people. I had good bosses. There are bad bosses. There are always some bad bosses. I can't promise you you'll have a good boss. You might have a crummy boss. I know people who've had crummy bosses as campground hosts. Most have good bosses and are treated pretty well. I was treated great. I love my boss. He became like family to me. There are three kinds of campground hosting jobs, and you're probably thinking of an RV park. Going to an RV park, almost all RV parks give you a site with full hookups, and in trade they expect you to work 20 to 40 hours a week. You work that time, you get a free site, they pay you above that. Terrible job, don't take that job. I don't know why anyone takes that job. You're working almost, sometimes they require a couple and you have to have the two of you. And you both work 20 hours a week, you work 40 hours a week to get a free site. Terrible deal. I can camp for free anywhere. I can boondock for free, and I always boondock for free. I haven't spent $100 for camping, for paying money for a place to live in the last 8 years. Not even, I'm sure not even $100. And you don't have to, and so that's just money thrown away. I don't know why anyone does that. You don't have to. And you stick with this, our channel, and we'll tell you how to boondock over a period of time. The second job, campground hosting, is a volunteer. Now that doesn't appeal to me, but there are people who just want a free site, the free full hookups, and they make enough money that they're willing to trade 20 hours a week for a full hookup site. And for you, there are a lot of those. The big ones are state parks. Usually the state parks, you give 20 hours a week and you get a free site. Another one is national wildlife refuges. Usually that's in the winter. Maybe you want to take the summer off and have a job in the winter. So you go to a national wildlife refuge. If you're a birder, you're in heaven, and you're in the national wildlife refuge, and you work 20 hours a week, sharing your love for birding and for wildlife. And so that's a pretty good job. If I didn't need money, I would consider that. There are other jobs. In my hometown of Anchorage, Alaska, all the schools bring in a volunteer, give them full hookups, and all they do is live there. They do nothing. They just are a presence on the school property to prevent vandalism. Pretty good job. No pay, but they get free full hookups, and they're in Alaska. Not a bad gig. The same thing with national parks. For example, there are some beautiful national parks right outside, state parks, being a volunteer at a state park right outside of the national parks. Denali State Park surrounds Denali National Park. So you could become a volunteer at the state park and live right beside the national park and go in and out every day. A lot of the national parks, that's true. So that's another reason you might want to become a volunteer. It puts you in a beautiful spot that you want to go in and visit. You could go in and visit those national parks every day. And another job in a future video, we'll talk about working inside the national parks, and I'll tell you all about that. That's just for another day. We're only covering 3 jobs today. Campground hosting is what we're talking about. What I recommend is that you work in the national forest. National forests have mostly been turned over to concessionaires. I suggest you work for a concessionaire. For 4 years, I worked for a concessionaire in a national forest campground. I woke up the whole 3 months. I was there for almost 5. Every day of the 5 months, I woke up in the national forest. I loved my job. I loved where I was. The job can be difficult. The job can be difficult. I won't deny it. What is the job of in national? You're usually paid minimum wage. Let me try and do things in order. You're usually paid minimum wage. Where I was, I earned $9.25 an hour. And I loved it. I worked 40 hours a week. I was in a remote campground. I was not very busy because I was remote. You can work in big campgrounds, and then you'll have you'll have full hookups. I had no hookups. That choice is yours. People say, well, can I get a job in the national forest campground? Yes, you can. If you're willing to go remote, like I was, they're begging for people. The RVers won't go remote, and so yes. The remote jobs are readily available. If you live in a car, van, if you live in a tent, they'll take anybody. They can't fill the remote campgrounds without hookups, so they'll take anybody. They'll take single people, they'll take you who live in a car and a tent, they'll take you. I've seen a lot of friends in living in tents as campground hosts. So, but you gotta go remote. Now, if you only want hookups, that makes it harder. Once you're in, then you go back every year and it's easy. So getting in the first time can be a little harder. If you're a single person in an RV and you want full hookups, that can be a little harder. It's possible. I know a lot of people that do it. come to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous in January. I time it around the Quartzsite Big Tent Show, and you will almost certainly get a job at that time. The last weekend overlaps, you'll go to the Big Tent Show. There are at least 6, 8, 10 vendors hiring. My bosses told me that by the time the Big Tent Show was over, they planned to fill every position, and they usually did. So the jobs are there, and if you come to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, I have it planned that you can actually get the job while you're there. I've known dozens, maybe 100 people that have done exactly that. I don't know anyone that wanted a job and didn't get one. What is the job? The campground host job in the National Forest. You'll be responsible for the money. Most of them are on reservations now. You won't handle hardly any cash. Mine was not reservations. I handled cash, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a week. You will keep people in line if they need line. You'll help people. You'll answer their questions. I love that part of it. I had great people. Almost nearly all my campers were really great because I was remote. They had gone there to enjoy nature, and they enjoyed nature, and so they loved their time there, and they loved being there, and I didn't have any problems. The big campgrounds can be big problems. A lot of partiers go there to party. I don't know why, but they do, and so that can be a problem. My boss let all of his hosts know I'm here to deal with the problems. You have a problem with a camper, you come to me. I will come to him and resolve the problem. So I love that about him. I was remote, so he wasn't there. He was 6 miles away and no telephone, no internet. And so, but if I worked in the campground, all I had to do was get on the radio, call him, say, I got a problem with this camper, will you come up here and help me? He took care of it. I like that. They love that, those campers, those campground hosts. Okay, so collect money, deal with campers, problem campers, deal with the good campers. There were lots of them. I can't tell you how many invites I got for dinner. I ate a lot of dinners. I invited to beer. I don't drink, but I have come over and have a beer after supper. I had a wonderful experience as a campground host. I highly, highly recommend the job. It was great for me. I'd do it again, except I had ran into physical problems and could no longer do it. Then the big part of the job is cleaning the toilets. No one likes cleaning toilets. And in the course of the summer, someone in your campground is going to have explosive diarrhea and go in there and drop the trowel, spin around, and poop, flying everywhere. It's going to happen. I'm sorry. I want you to warn you about that. It happened. It happened more than once. It happened every year. Cleaning toilets is no fun. It's part of the job. You just deal with it. I got used to it. You clean toilets. The great things about the job more than made up for it. You also clean the campsites. Surprisingly, most of my campers were very clean. I was rarely left with a mess. I did occasionally, not often. I could count in 2 hands in 4 years all the horrible messes I had to clean up. It was almost never. You clean out the fire pits. You rake it if there are needles so there isn't a fire danger. You pick up trash and patrol for trash. That was a really good job. I love doing it. I think you will love it. It usually runs from mid-May to mid-September. Mine always lasted. My boss liked me. I worked really hard. I was younger. And so I usually worked until I got there. One year I started May 1st and went to October 31st. I had a very long season. If you're young, make sure you tell them you're young. There'll be a phone interview. How do you get, I'll tell you about how to get the job in just a minute. And then, so there'll be a phone interview. Tell them you're young. They can't legally ask you your age. That's illegal. But tell them you're young. Tell them your age, and that's going to put you at a big advantage. They'd rather have a 30-year-old couple than a 70-year-old couple. It's just logical. They can work harder. Although they probably prefer a 40-year-old couple over a 20-year-old couple because there's a lot of wisdom and stability in a 40-year-old couple. So if you're younger, tell them. Make sure you tell them. How do you get the jobs? 2 main ways. Workcamper.com, I'll put that link up for you, and coolworks.com. Those 2 are the main ways. There are other mini websites. Do a Google search on nomad jobs or on remote jobs. There are others, and I don't know them all. I know those 2. They're excellent. I really highly recommend workcamper.com. I joined WorkCamper. I put on a resume, and within the week I had 3 job offers. I chose the one I liked the best, and so I really recommend those 2 websites to you. I'll put up a link to them. that you can type in yourself to your browser. Here's another way to get a work camping job. And this is the way, this is free. You don't have to join this website to do this. And I learned how to do this after my first year, and I never rejoined the website again, workcamper.com. You just choose a state. You want to work in Colorado because Colorado is beautiful, or you want to work in California because California has a high minimum wage and you want to be in the Sierras. Go to the Sierra, find the Sierra National Forest website. Just Google Sierra National Forest Ranger Station. It'll come up. It'll show you a phone number for the Sierra National Forest Ranger Station. You call them and you say, get the phone number, you call them and say, I want to work in your national forest as a campground host. They'll be delighted by that. They want them, they want good ones, they want people that want to be there. And you say, who is the concessionaire and how do I get a job in your national forest? They'll give you the name of the company and the phone number. And then you look them up on Google, and then you search them. You do Google search. I worked for California Land Management for 3 years. In Colorado, I worked for Rocky Mountain Recreation Company. Had to think about it. So you look up Rocky Mountain Recreation Company, you call them and say, or California Land Management, and you call them. You get a phone number, say, I want to work for you. You go to the website first, I'm out of order. Go to your website first, find a campground that you want to work at. Year-round, California Land Management has a listing of jobs. Do a Google search on California Land Management, job openings, job opportunities. I've always found jobs listed today. I've never seen a time when there wasn't a job listed. At certain times of the year, there's a lot of jobs listed, especially in late fall, going into winter, January. There's a lot of jobs listed in January. Go then. Find the campground you like. Call, get the phone number of the company, call California Land Management and say, I want to work for you as a campground host this year. I have a friend who worked there, says you're great. I'm young, tell them your age, I want to work for you and I'll do a great job for you. How do I get a phone interview? Everything will be done by a phone interview. You will not see any of them until you get hired, unless you come to the RTR and go to the tent. Then you'll talk to a person, fill out the interview and fill out a form right there, application. She will say, okay, here's the phone number of the person you need to call. Go online, go to this address and fill out an application. There'll be an online application. You start the process there. Don't trust that. The ball might get dropped. Call the person who does the hiring. So I worked at the Sierra National Forest. I worked for the Dinky Creek Campground. They would give you the phone number of my boss, Clayton. You will call Clayton, who does the hiring. You say, Clayton, I want to work for you this summer. I'm young, I love an adventurous life. I hear you have a great place to work. How can I work for you? He'll do a phone interview and you'll just wow him. And he probably won't offer you the job right then. He'll probably say, you know, this is a great interview. Let me do some background checking and I'll get back with you. They'll run a background check and he'll call you back and say, you got a job. It's just that simple. All in through the internet, all on the phone. And you'll have a job. You can have that job within the week. After watching this video, I'm writing this in August. Then throughout, now what will happen is, May, and I saw this happen every year, there will be people who don't show up. They just don't show up. They'll call and say, listen, I've had van troubles, my life has changed, I'm not coming. So they'll be hiring in May. People will get there in May and will not like the job. They'll be too remote, it'll be too hard, they won't like their boss, they'll just quit. I guarantee you that starting in May, June, July, and August, there will be job openings. If you want a job, call them. Say, I want a job. Do you have any openings? And they'll almost certainly going to get one. People have quit and left. Say they don't have any full-time jobs and you want to work full-time. If you're doing it in January, almost guarantee, okay, I'll give you an example. I was visiting with a friend in April. He wanted to work for California Land Management. I called my boss and said, Alan, I got a friend who wants to work for you. Do you have any openings? He says, I've only got one left. It's a 20-hour campsite. I'm having a hard time filling it. That's available. I said, my friend will take it. He went there in the middle of May, started working, somebody didn't show up. He moved immediately up to that full-time campground. That's very likely to happen. If not, worst comes to worst. You work 20 hours a week for that one summer. The next summer when you come back, they'll rehire you. California Land Management signs a contract with you for the following season. You have a contracted job for the following season. And so you then come back the next season, you get your choice of jobs. so you'll be 40 hours. Chances are you will move up to 40 that year. Worst comes to worst and you don't, you will the following year. Put up with the 20 hours a week and then you're in. That friend has been working for them for the following 6 years. He's worked for them, this is his 7th year. He's up in the high Sierras, right on the John Muir Trail, the Pacific Coast Trail. He goes hiking on the John Muir Trail every weekend. He loves his job. He's done it for this is his 7th year now. And so he went there thinking it was 20, immediately moved to 40 hours a week, and has had his job ever since. He's made more, he's got a raise every year, he's making good money, he loves his job. They love him, they treat him like gold. So Campground Hosting is a great job and I highly recommend it. So I hope you enjoyed this, I hope you learned a lot about being a campground host, and I think it'll be a great job for you. I loved it, and I think, now I had another friend that I got a job as a campground host. He lasted a month and he quit and walked out that day. It was not for him. It was too remote. He didn't like having people around him all the time. There are people that don't like being a campground host, and I'm not going to deceive you. Nearly everyone I've gotten the job for loved it, but a few did not. So, and it is hard work. I'm not going to, let me not mislead you either. It's hard work. You just have to put up with the hard work. Okay, so there you have it. Come back for the next job video on jobs, and we'll talk more about it then. See you then.